Democrats once again appearing to endorse threats against Republicans, this time from Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. But like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him.
Fox News contributor and senior writer for the Washington Examiner, Joe Concha, joins us now. Joe, good morning to you. So Axios had a piece yesterday claiming that Democrats are in a deep, dark hole with no party leader and the lowest favorability rating ever. And comments like this from Jasmine Crockett talking about punching, whether verbal or otherwise, certainly doesn't help that cause.
Yeah, Carly, I mean, Jasmine Crockett in the past few days has called for Elon Musk to be, quote, taken down. She wants that as a present for her birthday. Then, as you just played, advocating punching opponents like Ted Cruz has to be knocked over the head, like, hard. Lest we forget there were, what, 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life last year? One that, if he didn't turn very hard to the right, he would have been assassinated on national television. This sort of rhetoric cannot stand. But I guess this is what gets you on CNN, MSNBC, or wherever she was being interviewed on that particular clip yesterday. She is booked all the time because she says things like this, so I guess expect it to continue. But if you're a responsible network, you would say, all right, we can't put somebody on this that's advocating violence against her opponents, but that's exactly what's happening. That's what gets rewarded, and that's a shame.
Yeah, she went on to say that, no, I'm not inciting violence in any way, shape, or form. What do you make of that sort of, I can't even call it a walk-back attempt, that attempt at a walk-back?
It's not. Look, it's a wink, wink, nod, nod that, yeah, of course I'm not advocating. Just like when Jimmy Kimmel said last week, like, please don't go out and vandalize Teslas, and kind of like smiles and gives a wink to the camera. That's all that is. This is exactly, she knows what she's doing. And when we saw that poll come out last week, which Democrat espouses Democrat values most, they asked Democratic voters, she came in 4th behind AOC and Bernie Sanders. So she's right up there as far as being front and center. And some Democratic voters like this stuff, the extreme ones anyway. And I guess that's her game plan to continue to appeal to the crazies.
Meanwhile, Joe, Bill Maher, the popular liberal commentator, recently announced that he's going to the White House to meet with President Trump. And he was discussing his plans with comedian Andrew Schultz and even provided some insight on what he's going to wear to the White House. Listen to this.
Okay. That's my model for meeting Trump. It's like, you know, be respectful, which he deserves. He won not one, but twice. Like, funny, my girl said to me, what are you going to wear? I said, I'm not going to dress like Zelensky.
Not a Lululemon outfit.
It's not going to be a black T-shirt.
Zelensky pulled up looking like a yoga instructor.
Not going to be a black T-shirt, man. Yeah. I am wearing a suit and tie.
He's wearing a suit and tie, no black T-shirt. And, you know, Joe, at one point, even Andrew Schultz and Bill Maher, they both agreed that Donald Trump's willingness to sit down and talk to anybody is one of the reasons he won the election. At one point, Donald Trump even had a $5 million lawsuit against Bill Maher out. Now they're going to be having a nice conversation at the White House together.
Yeah, Carly, liberals are quite upset on social media that Bill Maher will be meeting with President Trump. But this is why his show makes news every week, why we usually play clips on it on Fox and Friends Weekend or on this show. It's interesting because he does talk to people like Trump, Bill Maher does, that he may not agree with. And Bill Maher has largely become the voice of reason on the Democratic side. He'll never vote Republican. He's shown he's clearly not a fan of President Trump's policies, but he respects the office and he's willing to have a conversation. And that is so much more than mostly everybody on the blue team, whether we're talking lawmakers or those in the media, can say about themselves. So, yeah, Bill Maher again in the news this week. He'll be at the White House. That's good for his brand, good for his show, and it's great that he listens. So, Bill Maher, the voice of reason, go figure.
He had his staff come up with a list of all the times that Trump attacked him. That's going to be quite a list.
I think he said it was 50 pages, 5 pages.
5 pages, but still. Finally, speaking of the White House, former White House press secretary KJP, haven't said that name or those initials in a while, Karine Pierre, commenting on her post-White House life. Quote, she told People magazine, it was an honor and a privilege to have the job and to have done it for 2.5 years, but I don't miss it. She went on to say that she's enjoying hanging out with her family, specifically her child. That's all well and good. Joe, your reaction?
Well, it's funny that KJP says that she doesn't miss it, because I'm certain that almost no one misses her. Look, except for Waters and Gutfeld, perhaps, just for the pure unintentional comedy that came out of those press briefings alone, yeah, not many people are pining for the KJP press briefing. But I will say this. She did have one of the hardest jobs you could possibly imagine, the job of defending the Biden presidency, knowingly lying to the American people by saying that his brain actually hadn't turned applesauce and that he had the stamina of an average college basketball player and the mental acuity of Stephen Hawking. So she had to go up there and say these things, probably knowing that they weren't true. But I'm surprised that The View hasn't signed her yet, Carly and Todd. I mean, what a perfect fit for that insane asylum on ABC. And most press secretaries do get signed to work in cable news, but for some strange reason, that has not happened yet with Karine Jean-Pierre. Go figure, but I guess she gets to spend time with her family. And, you know, after living in Washington, this could be a very nice time for her.
Yeah, and if that changes and she does get assigned to The View and she accepts, Joe, you could say, I told you so. Joe Concha live for us.
Thanks,
this morning.
right.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.